Hello and welcome to another Retro Crazy. We're looking at a Game Boy Pocket. This is one that appeared in a video just a short while ago for a delivery from ZenMarket, not Sendico. So I thought this time, let's see just how bad this is. The screen looks pretty bad. It could well be burnt out. Hopefully it's just the polarizing film. However, when we go to power it on, oh, that's the first time it's actually come up and made a noise. I have been trying this on and off and there's been nothing. We are getting the beep, which is something, and I'm getting a line across the screen, so the LCD is trying to do something. What I did note is while the connectors are not bad, there is some corrosion just on the top surface of them, so that'll need addressed. So let's crack on, we'll get this split open and we'll just see how bad this is. Again, using a tri-wing. The case itself is exceptionally grubby, so yeah, look at the colour difference. There's not going to be a way to bring this back, I don't think, but what we will do is we'll strip all this out and we'll give it a good clean. Now the battery contact here just pushes out from the back. There is a sprung latch and that's what I'm trying to get onto, because what that does is springs out and catches, so by going in the back I'm pushing it in to retract it. As I say, it's not too bad, there is a little bit on the surface, but we'll make sure that all comes off. These can now go to the side for a good, deep, intensive cleaning. So let's move on to the main case and the rest of the pocket. Lift out the switch. There is a flap here, it's double-sided, so, and there is one connector point which runs between the two, so pop that out and then gently extract the ribbon cable. Try and gently extract the ribbon cable, there we go. And now we can remove the remaining screws, and the nice thing is that they circle them here to make it easier to see. Gently lift out the main board, and it's not too bad, it's quite clean. So that'll just need a very small clean up to be back to good condition. So let's pop this to the side. We'll lift out the contact pads and the buttons. And the buttons will go to the side for a good cleaning. These will get cleaned, but we'll do them separately. As you can see, certainly not original colour. And last is the LCD. Now grab the case either side and twist it and you'll hear the breaking noise. It's not actually breaking, what's happening is the tape has gone off during the amount of time it's been on, and the tape has just given way a little bit over time, and what we're doing is the last bit to pop it out. And we can see it's coming, and we just need to be able to hold it so that we can get into just lift the rest of it out. and then gently lift, because this is glass. And do it slowly. And it should just gently give. And there it is out. What I am seeing is a little bit of damage down here. And I don't think that's on the protective film. I think that's actually on the LCD. But before we can find out just how bad the screen is, let's just say that surface is away. Now, we can pop this out as well. It should hopefully just pop out. Except this one doesn't want to. It's got a good grip. There it goes. You can see the amount of pressure I'm having to put on. And there we are. Now, you can replace this. It does have some scores. I'm going to clean it first and just see how bad it is. So let's pop this to the side. And that leaves this top shell, and you can clearly see the change in colour. Now I'm tempted to try something. I might try a little bit of an experiment, because you can see even the colour to the back is distinctly different. So let's pop these to the side. They're dirty, they're discoloured, but they're intact, they're not broken. So I'm going to use a couple of different tools to try and get this polarizing film off. I'll be using a knife, I'll be using cotton buds, I'll be using cotton pads, and of course isopropyl alcohol. Here's hoping I can do this without breaking the screen. It's always a risk, and I really hate the noise that makes. It makes it sound so brittle. Well, here goes nothing. I think I'm right the way through. So now we get our first look at the actual LCD with the polarizing layer off. And I do have to say, it kind of does look like it's the glue in the polarizing layer that's burnt. So let's continue the cleanup. So the most important tool in the arsenal there has to be a long, flat blade. Just be careful, because obviously this is effectively a razor blade edge. It will cut, and it will cut you as well as it will cut anything else. But getting the isopropyl alcohol on to soften it, and then just scraping it off into lumps, and then cleaning it off, some more isopropyl, working it, that's taken a fraction of the time it's taken me on previous attempts by just doing nothing more than using the blade instead. However, it's definitely screen burn. There's no getting away from that. Even if I put a fresh film in front of it, you're always going to see it, which is unfortunate. Having a nice clear screen would have been nice. Now, while that probably still works, I'm not sure there's going to be too much I can do with that. So let's pop this to the side temporarily, and let's look at the rest of it. So before I clean up the board, the first thing I'm going to do is treat the contamination. Now, on this one, you should be able to see that blue colour, which looks like corrosion, bluey green. So I need to get that dealt with. Same here, because I don't want to get it onto the board. That will destroy the board. To do that, just a little bit of white vinegar. With this, I can literally drop it in. And I'm not sure you'll see that in camera. There are some very fine bubbles coming off of that. And I'm going to use some of this vinegar. And I'm just going to liberally apply it and look at it bubbling. So I'm just going to cover this contact. I'll wipe off the worst of it. And that you can see bubbling away in there. So I'm initially just going to use this to do the clean on the board, the contacts. And for good measure, even though I don't see any on the other contact, I'm going to do it anyway. Now the problem we've got is if I leave that on, it's still going to corrode because vinegar is acidic. So I need to neutralise this now that it's done its job, and that's just isopropyl alcohol. Liberally sprayed on, and now I will just lift the worst of it off. And with that done, let's clean up the rest of the board, and we'll maybe give these a bit of a clean too. Now that the board's been done, let's deal with the volume and the contrast and the power switch. And we're just going to deal with that with a little bit of deoxit. And now, as far as the board is concerned, that's almost it. So we'll pop it to the side. Now I've given these a clean, but as you can see there is a big difference in colour. The back obviously is nowhere near as bad as the front. The sides, however, not the same story. Now I've been thinking, is there a way to try and bring the colour back? I'm going to test this. I'm going to use the back of this because the method I've got that I'm thinking of may lift the text off. It will lift the text off. So let's pop these to the side temporarily. Let's look at this, and then let's bring in some automotive T-cut. Now what this is designed to do is it's actually going to gently lift off the top layer of the plastic. So let's see what happens. So I've been running that for about 5 minutes, and it's definitely made it a bit shinier. It looks like the original plastics were quite shiny. Certainly the battery compartment is much shinier, but the back of it is dull. I'm not sure. I may have to test it on a more obvious area to try and see. It's very difficult to find a nice big area. I thought that would work. I don't know. I think it looks better. Well, let's try it in a really obvious area. What's the worst that could happen? And remember, I'm doing this so you don't have to. So there we are, that's another 5 minutes on, and other than making it appreciably shinier, I don't think it does much. It just kind of makes it look like it's been worn. It doesn't really bring the colour back, which is a shame, because certainly on paintwork it's designed to lift the top layer off and then reveal the original colour underneath. I thought maybe it would do it here, obviously not. So I'm going to go and give this a clean, because obviously it smells of tea cut, and I'll be back in a second. That's all clean now, and I suppose we could try retro brighting, see if that has any effect at all. I'm not sure, and certainly at this point in time in Scotland it's what we call dreich. It's a bit overcast, it's a bit rainy, yeah, there's certainly no sunshine. So in the meantime, let's have a look at this. Now you can see, other than the reflection from the light, which is covering this side, you can see how badly scratched it is. And hopefully you can pick that up. There's something I've been wanting to try, and that's used on car headlights, which these days are plastic. It's used for removing oxidation, but it's also used to remove fine scratches. And believe it or not, it's toothpaste. So let's try some toothpaste and some elbow grease and see what happens to this. Well, there we are, 5 minutes of finger breaking polishing using Colgate Advanced White, not sponsored. So let's have a look and see. If nothing else, my workbench smells lovely and minty. So is it any less scratched? Jury's out. Is it shinier? Oh, definitely. Definitely getting a nice reflection off that now. Oh well. And I mean, these are not expensive to replace these days. But it's always nice to see if you can reuse. So the adhesive on this is still quite tacky. So I'm just going to drop that back on there temporarily. It doesn't look too bad. Yes, it's worn, but it's nice and shiny now. So I've bent the tab back out so that it'll lock in place, and I'm just going to drop this back in place so I don't lose it. This can go to the side temporarily, knowing that I'm not going to lose that connector.
So during editing I actually found this video was much longer than I was wanting. So I'm going to stop the video here. This is going to be part 1, and we'll continue in part 2 when we look at the replacement screen and an annoying fault I found. So thank you for watching, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Retro Crazy.